All right, excellent. Hi there, everyone. This will be the last part of Intro to Marxism. And today I just want to cover actually what Dr. Robinson covered with this comparison between Locke and Marx. This is essentially a comparison between natural rights and a natural state, or the state of nature versus and consent out of the state of nature for government versus a natural really inevitable revolution ending in the proletarian state. And what's nice about this is that you can see the difference between the two ideologies through the Cold War. You can see the red representing Marx and the blue largely representing Locke and the American founding sort of Lockean liberal approach to government. And it resulted in a great war, and still is going on today. Now, let's look at these. I outlined them in a prior video, but let's look at these. For Locke versus Marx, Locke, individuals are natural. Marx, the state is natural. Locke, property rights granted to individuals based on labor. Marx, individuals and property rights don't exist. Locke, government based on consent. For Marx, government is based on the elite. Locke, revolutions are cyclical, and for Marx, communist revolution is the final form of government. Now, in Locke, you see the state of nature and then civil society, and you have consent coming out of the state of nature to then be consent for government. I'm going to briefly walk through and just show you the slides. I'm not going to really point out all of them, but I just want you to be able to see them. This is some of the basic terminology and the evolution of government for Locke. So civil society is created through rebellion. And this is a nice little chart that you can just pause the video and look it over to see what are some of the basic ideas. Largely state of nature versus civil society is the main idea for Locke, but there's some further distinctions there. Now, coming back, that was Locke. Now let's look at Marx and the progression of how we get to Marx's conclusions on the right-hand side. This is the overall economic evolution for Marx through 7 stages: tribal ownership, communal ownership, feudal ownership, gilded age, or guild age, manufacturing age, the big industry age, and then finally the end, communist revolution. So I'm just, once again, economic determinism here, assumption that political behavior is driven by economic incentives. Classes are groups of people distinguished by some standard, particularly economic capability. These terms are helpful for understanding Marx's terminology. Bourgeoisie is owners of capital, so the owners of factories, stores, shares, stock, land, money, etc. Proletariat is the working class. It's coming from the German ideology. So you walk through these different stages in history. You'll see this much more in a later lecture that I'll do, but on Intro to the Communist Manifesto. But these are the main stages as you work through, and you recognize these from your knowledge of history, right? As you walk through here, right? You out of the Gilded Age, you get the manufacturing age, and then you begin to see the proletariat developing out of this, right? And then you get big industry, and that's where you get the great disparity and the rise of the Industrial Reserve Army. Okay, so with appropriation of the total productive forces through united individuals, private property finally comes to an end, right? So at this point, you're making the final revolution, the communist consciousness, and the revolution comes out of this. So that's the 7 stages of Marxist evolution, and these are the two main ways that you can compare Locke versus Marx. And just once again, the big difference is individualism or individualistic versus the state, those two being natural. Which one is natural, right? And then once again, you see that how this has come to be over 240 years, the big differences. All right, there you have it.